No, I'm still trying to learn how to do a line.
It's just like when Scott thinks programming, he thinks code.
No, sorry, not code. So, yeah, wrong. No rush. Work up the sweet, get warm. I'm going to make coffee.
Yeah, it's a good thing about this place too.
Yeah.
Free coffee. Hey, everybody. Ugh. Hmm? Yeah. We haven't put the lining on, so I won't be sneaking up on anyone. Which one do I remove? Okay, what do we got today? Got to dissect this thing. I think these are the two plates that need to be removed. I'm just gonna. Is that a good angle? I wonder. Can the angle be better? Or can the angle be better over here? Uh-huh. Time to block that dude. Alright. Put some music on. Pixel. I don't know why my headphones aren't connecting. Strange. There we go. Oh man, you're doing God's work there.
That's it. Someone's got to do it. I'd already changed it over on Saturday, but then I filled an entire bag with dark. Here it comes. Dark bag of dark.
Alright, finally ready. What are you making? Hey, how's it going, guys? Hello, Heavy Cell Dookie Fish? Duckfish. Right. What am I making? Oh, I'm trying to... So this is like samurai armor that I've made, but I've made it one plate too long. So we're taking it apart to remove some plates to make it shorter. Because apparently, like, armor is not supposed to go past your waist, but this, like, covers my waist and my butt. So it's just a little too long. So we're taking it apart to remove 2 plates. I think we're going to remove these 2. We're going to remove 2 plates to make it shorter. So that was the recommendation. We got it inspected, and it's a little too long for us, so we're going to like shorten it a bit. And that's what we're doing. And it's in the title, if you didn't realize. We're making samurai armor. So obviously you can see, like, this is the back. You can see that there. We want to remove 2 plates, so I have to undo it and unweave it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to take... See, like, you have to, like... the way samurai armor is put together is it's you put it layer by layer, starting from the top all the way down. So if you need to get to the top, you need to remove all the plates. But thankfully, we only need to go like maybe 3 plates in, so we won't have to remove very much to get there. You are sideways, I know. It's because like Reddit likes to stream in portrait mode, but if you're on the PC, there's no hope for you. But if you're on the mobile, just turn the mobile sideways. You can also, that link, the orange link at the top of the screen, we're streaming to YouTube as well, so if you want to turn it the right way, YouTube is there if you need it. I hear the buffering is better on YouTube as well. Okay. Trying to remove these threads. Okay. What we making? We're making samurai armor. Did you not read the title? So this is the dough, which is the chest piece. Specifically, we're disassembling the back part to make it shorter. So we're not actually cutting it to make it shorter, we're just removing some plates and putting it back together. So it's got like horizontal plates going across the structure. And if we remove a couple of these horizontal plates, it'll get shorter. So that's what we're doing. It's too long for me, for my back. Okay. So now that we have all the strands like loose, we can just pull it apart, I think. You just pull it off like so. See, we're just pulling off the bottom piece. I think we want to keep this piece. So we want to keep this piece, but the next two pieces we're actually taking off and throwing away. So, and I'm not going to keep them in case some of the plates break, because I could just make new ones. Okay, so we want to keep those two. We're going to remove the next two. So, this is what the inside looks like. There are a bunch of leather ties, which we are called tomegawa. And those ties are what's giving it the structure. Otherwise, it will just collapse. The red lace is what holds up all the strength. So, without those, it'll just fall down. So each tie has its use. So we want to get rid of these two bottom plates, so which means I want to cut the ties here. These ties were done very simply. I just did one twist with some super glue. This would have been lacquered anyway, so I don't feel any guilt in cheating with super glue. Okay, so those leather ties are done. Just gotta cut the nut off. Cool. Alright, all that remains is to just pull out the red ties. That ain't no mithril. It certainly isn't. It's just steel armor, man. You know, the kind that you can... Probably it's just level 3, tier 3 armor. We haven't really leveled up our smithing to make any mithril or daedric armor or glass armor. Skills are not high enough for that, so we'll just stick with steel armor. Okay. Okay, so that's loose. Just got to undo all the leather ties. Or maybe I could just pull it straight out right now. Better deal with the ties. Okay, so we can now remove the plate. Now that the knots have been undone, we just simply lift it off. And that plate is gone. I'd like to point out that it's in an M shape, because you can see the M curve. It's to fit your back better. Hope it goes well. This is like the third time rebuilding it, so there's no real mistakes right now. Like, because I've actually worn this already and I know that it works. So we're just making a modification on something that already works. So there's no luck involved anymore. All the nervousness is gone. We're just removing a plate. Destroying something is way more easier than making something. So should be an easy job. So we're about finished here, actually. So we just need to get rid of this plate and then basically just lace everything else back. Okay, so those are loose. Now just to deal with the leather ties. Wow. All right, that's all loose. We could just pull it off now. All right, so that's the second plate off. And now the plan is, now that the plates are off, we're going to put these back on. We're going to lace these back and it'll be basically a shorter piece. So we'll go ahead and do that. So these plates we don't really need anymore. So you just go in the bin. Now to put all this back. So we're going to need new leather ties because I cut them off. So we're going to need new leather ties, and I think we'll have more than enough lace to carry us through. So we're going to use like this leather, I use this leather lace that we have. It's kangaroo lace actually, so I'm pretty sure they would have used deer leather for these strips, but this will work just as well. Okay, I just want to test if this is the correct length of lace for this. Alright, so we basically just tied an X onto this. So there's like two bits of lace on here now, and they just simply go into these holes that are at the bottom of the previous plate, and we just tie them together. Now the question is that enough slack for me to do what I need to do? I think it is. I think I want a little bit longer though, because although it might be wasting more, it might be killing more kangaroos, I want to do it properly. I'm just going to put like an extra inch on this thing, and then we'll be fine. Okay, so how many do I need for this first? So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 7 of these. One. Two. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. All right. Okay. Put the ties back on. 310. Okay, got one leather tie. Two. Three. Four. Five. One, two, three, four, five. Six. Okay, so I got the ties in, so you could see all of that underneath. Maybe you're too far away from the action. Maybe I had it right. Maybe the right angle is like close. Okay, so we have all the so these are the leather ties that we were talking about before. We were just getting a couple of these, which is leather lace. This is kangaroo in particular, and we simply just tied it onto the plate. So so without it, it looks like this, right? So these are the holes that hold the armor together. So you got like 4 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and then a repeating pattern right here. So you have in total like 8 holes per stitch. So to put Tomahagane on, so Tomahagane is the name for these leather straps that basically hold the armor together. So you start off at the bottom of the square, like so. And you just pull that through, make sure it's even on both sides. Like that. So make sure it's even, both sides. So So it just looks like this on the other side. And then you make the cross. Basically, it's the reverse version of the red lace going down, as I'll show you in a moment. But essentially, you make a cross with that leather lace, and that is ready. That is ready to latch on. So here's the tricky bit, right? The leather lace goes one way, and then the cotton lace goes the other way. So this end's going in, the cotton end's coming out. So now we have to do the tricky bit of pulling the leather lace through. So basically we're pushing two laces through the same hole. And I gotta sharpen these ends because it's easier to pull like lace through if you cut it on an angle. So if you cut it on an angle like this, right? So if you cut it on an angle, see how like the cut's going from starting from the bottom, ends at the top, instead of, you know, straight across like this, it's easier to pull through the tiny holes. Just a small pro hack move. Sharpen all these ends actually. So we're just prepping these laces by sharpening the ends. Some of them do have a bit of glue on them, so I need to cut off. Nice. Nice. Okay, so all the laces are sharpened now, so we can go ahead and show you how you put this together. All right, so with the leather lace going in, we now need to bring the cotton lace forward. Notice how we have a lace and a cotton cord coming in and out through the same hole. So it's pretty easy from here. We just like prep it like that and start feeding them through every other hole. So basically like that. That's how we start. So I'm going to do this for all the keels here. It's really easy to cross the streams, so make sure you know which lace goes where. That's the real danger in doing this, like getting the laces and the holes wrong. Yep. So now we have like so it's just a matter of doing the grunt work to get all the seams threaded. Wow, the camera went black. I hope it comes back. Is it not coming? Yeah, there it goes. Is it not transmitting properly? Hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to fix the camera. We'll be back soon. I turned it on and off again, so I'll come back. There we go. Alright. So... okay, so we're just threading it now. Cool. Okay, this one's a little tricky because it didn't really widen the hole, so it's going to be a tight fit, this one. Another pro tip, if you twist it around, like you can do this with wax thread. So all this cotton lace is waxed, so you can twist it around into a sort of drill and pull it through gradually. And if it's still too much, you can use some pliers to help along. But yeah, once it's through, it's pretty much easy sailing from there. It's always getting it through that initial hole that makes a difference. That's the challenge. Okay, and always make sure like the laces are coming down flat. You don't want twists in your lace, even though like I'm twisting quite a bit because I can't. This is sort of like a relace. Once you're like used to weaving it together, you don't have to rebuild it 3 times like I did. You'll get the perfect measurements. You won't forget the tamahagane. You won't forget the leather ties. I had to rebuild this thing 3 times because I kept forgetting crucial aspects that are like pointed out to me like at the end. So, all right, now that it's all threaded together, we can now feed the leather ties through the bottom of the previous plate. And you got to do this really, if you don't have a lot of slack with the leather laces, you're going to find it very hard to feed through the leather laces without pulling it out for ones you've already threaded. So, which is why I like to start off with, always begin with a healthy amount of leather laces, or healthy length of leather lace. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be moving the plate around as you thread it through, and then you're just going to undo the work you did by pulling it out if you don't have enough slack. So we're just feeding these through for now. We're not actually tying them off, because always do things like one step at a time. Like, don't finish one keel and start on a new one, because you might have to do like some tightening adjustments as you do this. Because like if you have it tight on one side and like loose on the other side, it just looks crooked. So always just take it slow. Don't tie off anything until you're absolutely sure it's not going to be affected by the other ties. So I'm trying to be very careful not to undo the leather lace I've threaded. Otherwise we're just going to have to like pull it out and start again. The more slack you have, the better, but too much slack and you're just wasting lace, because you have to cut it off eventually. So you just need to find the right amount that works for what you need to do. Personally, I always add an inch to my measurement, but this does mean I end up wasting a lot of lace. So alright, all the leather ties are in. We can now pull that tight. So now we can pull the... So the reason why I want to keep it loose is because we still have these leather laces to pull through. So hold on to the leather lace as you pull through the cotton ones. And make sure like the cotton ones don't have twists as you pull them through. Right, so now we're doing the tightening process. Right, so this part. So I'm trying to like keep this lace flat, but it looks like we've got a twist in it. So we're gonna do like the jiggle where we rotate it on one side and just feed it in and out, like pull it back and forth, and eventually it'll auto correct itself. So that's how you get twists out. And always never go crazy with this thing, because if I pulled it a little more, I think we would have lost our leather laces. Right, so now we're just gonna tighten this up now. Okay. Oh, we may have a bit of a crossover here. Okay, so we did like a rookie mistake, I think. Yep. Okay, so we did a rookie mistake. We took the left one, fed it to the... We took the right one, fed it to the left, and took the left one and fed it to the right. It's not supposed to do that, so we have to do this keel again. We have to like pull it all the way out. So yeah. So now you know why I had to rebuild this thing 3 times, because kept getting it in the wrong hole. Am I right, lads? All right. Okay. Okay, so that's corrected. Hopefully we won't see too many of those. Okay, so that's good. Making sure our leather lace still stays in. So always grip the lace as you pull it through, so it doesn't get pulled along with the cotton and basically undone. Okay. Nice. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, now to do this side. Screw. Starting to feel that maybe this is a little too tight on this side. Because this side is dripping quite a bit. Well, it feels crooked, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that feels good. Okay, there's a bit of a twist in here. Feels a little undone. Okay, pull that through. Okay, so that's good. And then for the final keel. What is samurai? Samurai is, you know, Japanese knights back in the day. They were a noble class, and that's how they ruled Japan for a bit. Japan is unified because of a samurai. They're basically Japanese knights. With some differences, but essentially the same. Okay. Okay. Nice. Alright, so now that the ties and the cotton is in, we can now do the cross. Before we do that, I want to tie off the leather ties on the other side. Okay, so we're going to cheat a little and use super glue to hold it together. But basically now that we have the laces in, we can just pull this tight as much as we want. This one's a bit crooked, but it doesn't matter. Thank you so much for the wholesome. Appreciate it. Alright, so well, ordinarily this would be, you know, held together with lacquer, which is basically like plastic tree sap. It's basically varnish that they made from tree sap. But we're using super glue. It practically functions the same. Nothing too special about super glue or tree sap. Okay, pull that tight. Nothing special about this, we're just doing a single twist. So step one of tying a shoelace, and we're just gluing it shut. I mean, it's not meant to like hold up the entire armor, we just don't want it slipping out. This does mean, you know, we can never untie it, but that's okay. We can just cut it off if we want to undo it. Okay, that'll hold. Alright, so that's that row done. So the leather ties are in. We can now focus on getting the cotton lace done up. So this is how we start. In fact, it's pretty much the same when you're starting. Usually you have like, this is all one cotton lace, just folded in half, and then you pull it so you have equal amounts of lace on either side. And then you just do the cross. So first you begin with the cross. Make sure it's consistent, so I like going right to left first. It really shows up if you don't follow your own consistency. So I like going right to left here. Make sure it's flat. Don't want any twists. If you wanted to adjust like how far up or how far down it sits, now is the time. And you really want to make sure that the lace before it is... Really want to make sure that the lace before it is pulled through and tight. So that's something you gotta like make sure of before you like lock it in this cross. So this is a little loose, so I'm just gonna pull it through a little more. Alright, cool. Alright, right to left. Pulling that through. Make sure it's tight on this end. And when you get better at drilling holes, because this is like my first armor, it's really crooked, all the holes don't really line up, and that's why the stitch looks crooked. But as a first attempt, I'll take it. But yeah, that's one thing I can improve on. These holes are like super crooked when they sit together. I should have I drilled the holes when it was curved. So I should have drilled my holes when it was flat, like when it was a flat sheet of metal. My mistake was that I wanted to have better fitting holes, so I thought the best way to do it would be to shape it first and then drill after, but that was a mistake. So always drill first, then shape after. Okay, this one's a little loose, so I'm just going to use some pliers to pull it through. There we go. That looks alright. Okay, just tensioning it, see if it's pretty good sit. Yeah, I like that. Alright, this side's gonna be difficult because this was kind of jimmied in. So these holes are gonna be a little difficult. Yeah, this is gonna be... See, these holes I didn't widen enough, so they're like super thin, and I can't get the lace through. So we're gonna try our best to coax it in. Alright, I'm gonna need to coax it in. Alright, I'm gonna need like my jewelry file for this. So it's basically just a sharp piece of metal that I'm going to use to coax through the hole. just push it through. I'm pretty sure it will fit because it fit before. Alright, okay, maybe it's better if we do this. Yeah, we want to go right to left first. So we're trying to like just put it through this hole that's just tinier than usual. It's very difficult, this one. Sometimes you get holes like this. For me, I just plain forgot to drill this out. It's now a pain in the ass. So, just need some extra tender loving. Okay, we're through. Knew we could do it. Just need some extra attention on that one. It was extra small. It's my fault though, because I didn't drill it out. Okay. Alright, we're making progress. Now for this one. Wow, always wanted one of these? What, samurai armor, really? Stick around and I'll show you how to make it. There are like actual patterns online you could do, and as long as you have a way to, as long as you have steel and a way to cut steel, you can make this yourself. And I've made every single aspect of this particular armor myself, so it definitely isn't impossible to make. It'll just take you a while. Alright, there we go. Okay, so that's finally through. So what's the material? This is steel. So this is steel. We can't get original, it's really hard to get the original lacings they use, so this is just shoelace. Or waxed shoelace. You can get a ton of it online, which is what I did. So this is straight up steel. I think it's 1.2 millimeters mild steel. So it is actually steel armor. I wanted it to be relatively low maintenance, so I kind of cheated as well. I got this steel hot dipped in zinc, so it's also galvanized, which makes it rainproof. Because I don't want to like spend my time like looking after it. I want it to look after itself. Some people might find that relaxing, but I just find that annoying. It's like, oh, maintenance. Alright, and then finally, like with the cross you just pull the threads through. So this cross and pulling it through back out creates a really like strong structure, surprisingly. I didn't think it would, work so well with so much, shoelace, but I'm quite surprised that holds together really well. Oh yeah, you can absolutely make it from leather. Make sure, what is the material? So this is steel, and I'm planning to use it in training. I think you guys are from the US, right? If you look up what the SCA is, so the SCA is like a reenactment society. They have the most realistic war games that you can get without it being stupidly safe. So, they actually bash each other with like sticks. But it's the closest you can get to like actual medieval war games. And it's quite an open society, so you can go as anything you want. It just has to be something from the 15th century. So, and there are exceptions as well, like, because this is 18th century armor. So, as long as it's not modern, right? As long as it's not modern. So, you can, it's kind of like a really serious LARP group. It's got its own lore and alternate history and everything. No elves though, it's all human history. So that's what I'm building this for. I'm building this for the SCA and maybe a Hemo if I'm interested. So this is like built very sturdy. So I used I think 1.2 millimeters. 1.2 or 1.6. I'm not sure. I think it's 1.2. I think I have some calipers around here somewhere. I think it's 1.2 or 1.6 millimeters. For you Americans out there, that would be roughly 16 gauge. I think 1.6 millimeters is 14 gauge. Let's check how thick that is. How thick? Can I get some thicks in chat? Wow. Okay, so my digital calipers tell me this is like 2 mils, but that's because I coded it. Okay, so it's 1.6 roughly. Roughly 1.6, maybe less. So it's 1.6 mils of steel. That's pretty thick. But you got to remember that I painted it and I also galvanized it. So all of that width is not totally all steel, but I can guarantee you at least 1.2 millimeters is. That's 16 gauge. Okay. Yes, so you can make it from leather. You'll have an easier time with leather, but in Australia at least, leather is actually more expensive than steel, and maybe in the US as well. Leather is just more expensive, so you might actually find it cheaper to make it from steel, but you can definitely do leather, yeah. Your tools will just be different. So instead of like a shear, a metal shear like we have over here in the background, that blue thing is a shear. It's like a hand cranked like metal cutter. So instead of that, you'd have like scissors for your leather. You'd also have like leather punches. That's way easier. Probably still use the lace. You probably don't need tomahagane, which is the leather straps that hold it together. You probably don't need that unless you want it to be like rigid like this. Like tomahagane, which is the leather ties you saw earlier, that is essential for making the weight tolerable. But with a light sort of like leather armor, you probably don't need it. So the reason why it'll be easier for you to wear is because it's rigid, and this is rigid, it doesn't compress. Because the leather laces are holding it up. So because it's rigid, it'll direct all the weight of the armor into your hips, so your shoulders don't feel the weight. And you need your shoulders to like fight, so it's actually easier to wear if you make it rigid. But if you're doing something like leather, you could like skip out on the ties and make it compress. So this is what it looks like without the ties. It'll just be able to be squished like that, so you can pull it long and squish it short. There's nothing to stop it from compressing. So with leather, you could possibly do that and have it really compact to like pack away basically. Because this is rigid, it's going to need like a bigger bag to contain it. But without the ties, you could just compress it down like a roller shutter, and then just like pack it away in a tight little bag. And because it's made of leather, it'll be light, so you won't feel it on your shoulders. But with metal armor, this probably weighs like 10 kilos already. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it on your shoulders, and you really, and that's why I had to rebuild it. I had to rebuild this because I forgot the ties, and then it put all the weight on my shoulders, and I was just like instantly tired from holding this up with my shoulders. So yeah, it's easier on the back if you have the leather ties put in. All right, so we're almost done here. This is the final plates, and you can tell because we have the kusazuri coming off. So this set of steel here is called kusazuri. It's in English it's tacit, so they're the hanging plates. So this is what protects your butt, when it flaps around. And we kind of skimped on, usually you'd have a curtain of laces, but we skimped out on that because this is good enough. It's definitely gonna, I skimped down on it because that would just require too much drilling. I didn't want to drill that much and use that much lace on something like that. Okay, so we're at the final stage. Gonna have to cut out some ties. So how many holes do we need to do? Paracord, you can definitely use paracord. However, it brings the armor further away from being accurate. So it really depends on if you want your armor to, if you want to build it in a practical way, or if you want to build it in an authentic way. And I've tried to make this authentic as I can. So ignoring like all the modern Nidus cities with the galvanizing that I did, the paint job is also like not authentic either. So this is like a very matte paint job. I wanted that because I didn't want to look shiny. But Japanese armors are usually the black leather lacquer or the black paint. It usually has a very shiny finish. But there are examples out there where it's kind of matte as well, so not too far from the truth. But that's another thing. It's not, the black lacquer is not authentic because it's supposed to be shinier, and you can just use a different paint. Crazy people will try to recreate the black lacquer that goes onto the armor, and good luck to you, because that requires sourcing some exotic materials. But coming back to the paracord thing, the reason why I don't want to use paracord is because paracord is a round cord, and the Japanese armors use flat cord. So to be more authentic in your build, you want flat cord. Also, like having talked about the cord, these X's that you see here, these X's are too big, and I wanted them big. For no particular reason, because I think bigger X's look better. But the X's are actually smaller than this, so that's another inaccuracy. But for the rest of it, it's pretty accurate. So yeah, that's why I won't use paracord over on this build or any other build, because even though it's strong, I get it, it's not holding up like an entire parachute or plane, right? It's not going to be holding up a human, it's just holding up several kilograms of steel. It's not that much, so you can forego the strength of the cord a little bit to make it more authentic. And this is just straight up shoelace, right? Not really designed for like mountain climbing or anything. It's just ordinary shoelace. It's waxed because I don't want it to rot. So it's waxed because I don't want it to rot. Because, you know, if you just have straight cotton lace, if it gets wet in the rain, it'll start to rot. So I've asked for waxed lace. So the wax is sort of like a protective layer, basically. It's a protective layer over the lace itself. So I went for waxed lace for that reasoning. But yeah, generally don't want to use paracord. Otherwise your build will become more and more unauthentic, and if you do take it to shows, it'll only be appreciated by people that don't know anything. The real experts will just criticize your armor, and once they do, you'll never unsee it, right? Once it happens, you won't be happy with your armor anymore. So try to make the build authentic as possible. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, forget lace, right? If you just want to put it together and you don't want to do this authentic lacing, you can go for the one plate build. The one plate build is basically this whole thing is one plate instead of several plates. It looks more bland and and, you know, featureless. It doesn't have the nice, you know, like leather lacing that we get here. It's just one plate. That's still authentic, and it's like easy. It's less work because all your effort is going to go into shaping that thing and bowling out and dishing that thing. Another reason why I went with a horizontal plate design, because it's easier to shape like strips of metal than like a bowl of metal. But having said that, like if you're gonna, you know, just build it with modern techniques, you may as well just weld it together, and that's easy. It'll be stronger than paracord. You don't need any paracord. You just weld it together. In fact, that's a lot of what the Chinese, like the armors that you can buy that are produced in China, they just spot weld it everywhere. And I actually have an example over there. I have another armor that's just welded together. It doesn't look as nice. So, and bear in mind, you're going to be spending some time building this thing. So you're going to be spending some time with this thing, and all that time, in like a splinter in your mind, you're just going to think, I shouldn't have used paracord. I should have listened to what that dude said and not used paracord. So I'm telling you now, don't use paracord. Just don't. Just don't. You could make it out of leather. So yeah, you could just get a leather jacket and boil it. So when you boil leather, it becomes harder. So you can make plates out of them. It'll definitely be lighter. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Most people nowadays go for like ABS or plastic. So you can get like some plastic ABS scales cut out, and then just start whacking it together. So that's the other thing you could do. So instead of leather, you can make it out of plastic. And once again, it's the authenticity thing, but plastic is super light and cheap, so you'll still be you know, renowned for your construction techniques despite the lack of materials. Leather's expensive, man. It is. And also, like, maybe leather jackets won't be able to do the job because you need like fairly thick leather to do it. So the kind used in saddles and things. So you need like maybe 4 millimeters of leather to pull this off, because you want the leather to be fairly thick. Otherwise, it's just going to be floppy. It won't protect you from anything. Depends what you're going to use it for. Are you going to use it for display? Are you going to actually use it in combat? You know, there's a saying, look after the leather, look after your armor, and it'll look after you. What sort of weight would it be? With leather, you're probably looking at maybe half a kilo to a kilo. You don't really need a lot of weight. This is like definitely like getting on like 5 kilos, I think. It weighs quite a bit, but it's still bearable. So I haven't actually weighed it. I probably should. But you're not going to be dealing with entire body weights, is what I'm saying. Can we see what the helmet looks like? I don't actually have a helmet to show you. I have like an inspired one, so I have that if you want to see that. The helmet is, I don't have the proper helmet to show you. That's kind of at home. I'm working on it, so. I heard somewhere that samurai armor was actually made of wood and purely cosmetic. That's a lie. So I think the closest thing like samurai armor was made of wood was bamboo weaves of plates. So what they do is that I think, so I'm not an expert, but I read somewhere that the closest that they had to wood armor was they basically made so first of all let's get the right plates. So this is the shoulder plate. So the typical shoulder plate that goes on your shoulder, you know, here. This is kind of small, and I want to make it larger, but anyways. So this is the shoulder plate. It's called the sode. And notice how the crosses are smaller. This is actually the most authentic piece that I've made. Anyway, so this is a sode. And the closest that I have seen, I've read somewhere, is that they made these out of bamboo weave. So instead of these plates, they wove bamboo together. And that was enough to stop arrows. So that's as close as I thought. That's as close as I've seen to wood armor. But generally they're made out of leather. In the old days it was made out of leather. And later on in history they were eventually made into steel. The early, like before Japanese armor came about, so the first Japanese example of Japanese armor is called the Oyoroi, which is the great armor, and that was made from leather and cotton. Before then, it was basically like imported Chinese armor, which was the I think which translates to bowl armor. I gotta look it up again. But basically it was like bowl. It's called something like the Hanbei or something. And it was basically bronze Chinese armor. So never was there a time where it was wood. So like the Japanese armor you know now was steel. Before that it was leather. Maybe you had bamboo weaves of sode if they couldn't afford, you know, leather or steel. But even before that, where Japanese armor didn't exist, it was bronze. So never really was it made out of wood. The ones that were used in battle, that is. I don't know, people did crazy things back in their houses. What did they use for string? They used silk. They used silk. So they had a lot of silkworms. They just used silk. They just wove silk together. So they had like silk cords. Alright. It was just silk thread. Well, it was silkworm cocoon dropped in hot water, and they wove that into a string, and then wove that into a cord. Live chat. Zolf Photography. What is the main armor material? Steel. So it's steel. Sorry I ignored your messages. It's hard to keep up with the chat. I really should do something about that. Sorry. Copy link. Alright, cool. I think that'll do. I wonder if there's a setting. Can I stop it posting to chat? That's my music player. It keeps posting to chat. Manage. What? Announce what's playing. Oh, can disable with premium. Okay. Looks like that's not going to go away until I sign up. I'm thinking of signing up soon anyways. What if I just blocked pretzel rocks? Ah, yes, that works. Just block it. I wonder if it stops. Alright, I have your chat messages now. Sorry, Zolf, for ignoring you. The main material is steel. So we are making real steel armor. Real steel. This is mild steel though, so it's like the softest of all the steels, but it's still steel. Alright, so we're just repeating the process again. We're repeating the process again. So we're threading through. Hmm? This is weird. That's weird. Alright, whatever. Okay. That's not how it goes. It goes back to front. Do I have... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. I need 7 ties. I don't know if I have enough. It looks like I don't have enough. I'll just cut more. Yep, I need to cut one more. All right, here we go. Oh, wrong hole. Okay, nice. About to prep to put in the leather ties. Okay. Just working it out. We're almost done here. Okay. Is the armor for you or client? No, for me. For me. I'm building it purely for me. I wouldn't do this as a living. It takes too long to make these things. I'm sure like we could speed it up with like modern machinery and automation, but it just takes way too long. I'd be spending like entire lifetimes just building one, so it took me ages to get up to this point. Might consider doing it if I get a YouTube channel up and going and can pay for my own expenses, but nah, wouldn't do this as a job. Just takes way too much effort. Okay, so the leather ties are in. Okay, better tie these off, I guess. Okay. Alright, time to super glue this down. I'm a leather crafting enthusiast. I think what you're doing is really awesome, really worth an upvote. Well, thanks, man. There's not much difference between, you know, a leather version of this. You can, instead of steel, you just do leather. Except, you know, leather around here is expensive in Australia, so I choose to do it out of steel. It does mean, like, we're gonna have, like, difficulties cutting the steel to make the shapes, but generally it's been a smooth ride. Taking some liberties here with super glue holding the knots together. Okay, just pulling that tight. We're putting like the super glue inside the knot, so when you pull it tight, it squeezes it all together. So, nothing too fancy about these knots. Just doing a twist, adding some glue, and then pulling it tight. So you can see this is all the, it's kind of a mess, but you can see what's happening here. We're slowly like tying these all together, just pulling it tight. Does the super glue retain the knots as opposed to epoxy in regards to timing and movement? I don't know actually. I've never actually used this in an armor I've made in battle yet, so I'm gonna have to come back to you on that one. But I'm just going by like how much reinforcement is in this anyway. So for one, it's not like we have one tie. We have like 7 per plate, and 10 plates. So that's 70 ties. So we just by sheer number of them, I think like we don't need to use very special glue. We just want it will bear the weight for sure, but we don't really. This glue is only just to stop it from untying itself. The leather will bear the brunt of the weight, and also like we're not just tying a loop around this thing. We also have like a cross knot behind this. I'll show you when I have it turned around. But the knot on the other side is also bearing the weight as well. So I don't think it'll be an issue. Just by the number of ties we have, the loads distributed evenly across the ties. We have a specialized knot keeping it together. And also we also have the cords. So the leather lace cord, the cotton, the shoelace cords that run up and down the armor, that's going to bear most of the weight as well. So these knots are just sort of to keep the rigidity so it doesn't collapse on itself. So to sum it up, number of ties, the knots that we tied, and also it's not the only thing holding this thing up. Generally don't need a specialized glue to get where we need to go. I think it'll be fine. So yeah. But you're right, maybe it will snap off as soon as I wear it. Maybe the sweat will dissolve it. But, if that's the case, it's not going to break off. We just simply retie it with another. We just simply retie it and glue it again. So it's not like a difficult problem to fix once we're all laced up and everything. Okay. Alright, so now we're just pulling the lace through. Thank God we still have enough. Just trying to keep that flat. I think it was a mistake to pull the leather ties tight, but I think we can manage. Okay, so we're just pulling the laces tight. Thank God it's already positioned flat. Okay, and then now we just tie it off. So we're finally at the tail end of this thing. This armor is now evenly sized. We had 2 plates too large. We removed some plates and now we just tie this off. We tie it off the same way we did the leather plates, the leather ties. We're just going to super glue the ends together. There's no real secret about that. Except there's a small issue of threading it through. Just going to have to use this steel pin to help me push the leather, the cords through. So yeah, I was going to show you like the knot on the other side. So the leather ties, as you can see, and this is the other side of the leather tie, right? So as you can see, it's not just a loop. We do like a cross loop before we thread it through to the other plate, and that's what's going to add to the tensile strength of this particular construct. Reaching the end. Okay, so that's it. We finished the weave. Gonna tie it off. Just gonna use super glue again. No problem. I prefer it if you ask heaps of questions. Just forgive me for not replying right away. Are you using kangaroo lace? We are. It's the cheapest leather you can get around here, because there's too many kangaroos. So I am using kangaroo lace, yes. It's got a unique springiness to it that can't really be found in any other leather. It's a very unique leather to work with. But generally, it feels very thin, but springy. So, which is kind of characteristic of kangaroos. Thin and springy. So it's like, it's almost, it feels like very elastic. And it's also thin. But not too thin. Okay. Yeah, I use kangaroo lace a lot. I use it. I don't really have a preference. I mean, I don't usually do a lot of leather working, but it does work wonders. I like it so far. Okay. Right. Sorry to ask lots of questions. What reference material did you use for the construction method? I used a particular website. It has all the plans for the samurai armor. I'll post it in chat. Nihon Kachu Seisakuben. So sengokudamyo.com. So it's a really old website, but I'll post it up again. So this is my primary resource that I use to construct all this stuff. It has all the information that I use to make it. And I also have contacted people that made it before. So I primarily use that site though. It has all the patterns and stuff, which I used and transferred to steel. So that has all the info on it, if you want to have a go at making it yourself. There's many different types, so there's lots of customization you can do with each armor. But I decided to go with, you know, the quintessential modern samurai armor that we all know. Basically, samurai armor used in The Last Samurai. Yes, they are perfect. All perfect. So have fun with that. Okay. I think we tied it off. That's neat. We did it. And it's only 11... It's only 11 o'clock. Alright, that's done. So yes, this is the armor. I'll probably want to cut off the excess. So we'll just cut the excess. Alright, we're practically done. Alright, just need that to dry off, but might want to trim the leather ties. Nice. We're done. That's it. Woo! Finally. I like the fact you probably cared for that armor. Longer. Yeah, exactly. But I've also, like, added some modern magic as well. So we galvanized it underneath this black paint, so it will never rust. And that's it. That's the armor right there. Right there. So this is it. This is the back armor. Pretty sturdy. This will be used with the front armor. So this is the front that we worked on earlier, and we could possibly put it on. I would put it on, but I'm not gonna, because I'm not going to because it's still, you know, wet. The super glue hasn't really set yet. Also, it looks like I need to finish off. I don't think I'm done with the bottom of this. It looks very loose, so I'm gonna deal with that. Yeah, it doesn't look right. Okay, that looks tight, but this one looks fine. A couple of these knots are super loose. Okay, that one's tightened up properly. This one isn't. Yeah, I didn't pull it through properly. That's why this is a little bit of a disaster. Yeah. Alright, this looks kind of horrible, but we can fix this. Okay, so we just need to tighten tighten a few things up here. Uh-oh. Okay, that's tight. Alright. Gonna re-super glue that because I ruined it. Yeah, thanks. It's almost done. We're almost there. Just needed to address some last-minute ugliness, but that'll do us for tonight. Work on something else this Friday. Okay, super glue that. I think that one's fine. Nice. Okay. Now it's done. This armor's ready to go. Now I just gotta focus on getting the arms and legs ready. And then we'll be able to fight in this thing. That's the hardest piece, by the way. The legs and arms come more easily than this. Alright. That's it. Real steel. I'm gonna call it there, guys. Thanks for watching. You've been epic, and I will talk to you soon. Just cleaning up here. Any final questions before I take off? That's it. It's one armor piece completed. Smithing skill 100%. Now I gotta get this inspected, but I'll bring it on a Friday. But we made it shorter. Alright, well, there's no other questions. Thanks for watching. I'm up here, guys. Wow, that's kind of lopsided. That's very lopsided. It's probably because of the weight. Yeah. Thanks for watching. We will be back this Friday, hopefully. I've been taking some time to work on a YouTube video, so watch out for that soon. I hope you have a nice day. Thanks for joining me for like a session of Armorsmithing. The next phase of this is we're going to line it. I'm not sure if I want to put like a banner pole mount on it yet, so I'll have to think of that one. But yeah. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you Friday.